Okay guys, thanks for joining us for our second interview. Today we have Alan Murphy, who is head tutor and course coordinator of Image Fitness based in Cork and in Waterford. Alan, I personally know Alan he was the first tutor I had, and I class him as a mentor of mine, so I'm really delighted he came in to speak to us today. Today what we're going to discuss is going to be the fitness industry today, mental health and fitness, and also going to be discussing anxiety and how you training can help with that. So Alan, thanks for coming in.
No problem.
If you want to just
going back a while for you.
Yeah, since 2012. So if you want to just tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, what you're.
Yeah, so I run Image Fitness Training. We're an education provider within the fitness industry, as you know, providing fitness instruction, PT, group qualifications, upskilling for PTs, and so on. So that's what I do.
Okay, so I suppose you're definitely in a position to speak on where you think the fitness industry is right now compared to where it was maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think even if you go 5 years ago, if you were on with me in 2012, so gone back 7 years, it's changed since then, a hell of a lot since then. I think if you go back 10 years ago, fitness industry probably was people maybe becoming more comfortable with training. More people were training than ever before without having to be involved with sport, do you know? Flash forward 10 years, it's been great. And it's been not so great, nearly all rolled into one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that'll happen in everything. You get the positive side of everything, you get the negative side of everything. But what has happened in the last 10 years, I suppose, now it's so commonplace for everybody to train. So for example, you're talking about going back 10 years. If you go back 20 years, so when you go back 20 years, I started training about 21 years ago. Back then, if I arrived in somewhere like this, where the t-shirt that was fitted t-shirt on me, that people would have stared at you. Yeah. People would have looked at you like something wrong with you. You know, when I was say 21, 22, I would have been training a couple of years at that stage, walk down the street like a big guy or whatever, people would stare at you. Now it's more commonplace. There's plenty of big guys, plenty of fit girls, plenty of everything. You see fitness all over the place. Yeah. So 20 years to now is gigantic difference.
Yeah.
There is a big difference between 10 years and now, but 20 years is massive.
So I suppose it is great to see that, people are definitely as health conscious as they've probably ever been. 20
years ago in Ireland, the business that you run here, people coming in paying for a PT wouldn't have happened so easily. It just wouldn't have happened. People the idea of somebody paying money for somebody to train them just was not a consciousness. Didn't happen. Well, it did happen, but it probably happened with people who were maybe into bodybuilding, into a sport. When I was 20 and I was going competing, the first year I was going competing. Now it was kind of like my first year in training. I looked for a personal trainer and I found one. I'm from Tipperary, right? So I was a country boy from Clonmel and Tipperary, and I found one somewhere in Kilkenny. Right, so that means I'd have to have gotten into my car, travel all the way down to Kilkenny to get a one-on-one PT session with somebody. So you're talking about the bones of an hour's journey down, an hour's journey back, an hour for training. So it's going to be half a day gone.
Yeah. Whereas you Google it now and you have 10
trainers.
Find
a trainer. Yeah, but thank God, because now you've got a variety of trainers and you've got somebody who will resonate with you, not just a personal trainer who may or may not have an interest in what they're doing, number one. Do they have a passion for doing number two? And are they kind of resonating with what it is that you want to do, number three, do you know? So now you've got variety and you have a choice.
Yeah, let's speak a little bit about passion. I suppose you come across trainers, you do loads of trainers have come through ranks in Image Fitness.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you can identify very quickly where people have passion and where people might be doing it for maybe just themselves to improve their own knowledge.
And I have no problem with people doing it for themselves. I have absolutely no problem with people doing it for themselves, coming in, getting a bit of information. Because I get people I've had 2 doctors on the course. I've had plenty of guards on the course who may take it to work with them. I've had lots of school teachers who may take it to work with them and implement it. So that's fine. And I don't even mind if someone's coming in saying, I'll never use this ever, I want to learn a bit for myself, I'll go to the gym, I'm going to do a bit of training, I'm going to get a bit healthier or whatever. I say absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's what I
But I do ask them day one, why are you here? So then I can see, if somebody says, I want to go out to the fitness industry, I want to become a trainer, I want to become credible, I want to work in this industry, then I have to keep an eye for what we have.
And I suppose just on the industry a bit more is, people keep saying it's something I don't fully agree with the saying, but they say it's a flooded market. Now that for me, yes, it might be a busy market, but it's a growing market.
Yeah.
And if it's a flooded market, but you're a standout PT, then
it's one of the only industries that grew really well during the recession. Yeah. Because when people were suffering for whatever way they were suffering, one way to alleviate all that is to train. Now I've been doing that for years. telling other people that they should do that for years, but people really got it.
Yeah.
They started training. So people say to me, oh, you're turning out X amount of trainers every year. I'm saying, yeah, but we have a percentage of those who will work in the industry, and a high percentage who won't, because they chose that. It's not because they can't, it's because they just chose that, and that's absolutely fine. But it's like everything. Look at the Royal College of Surgeons in Dublin. Look at any accounting qualification. Look at any even high-level professional. There are many people that come into that industry every year. How many will be the people who will be standout, passionate, their undying love for something, and they'll pour that into what they do? That's the person.
Yeah.
You know, like if I need a solicitor tomorrow, if I get into trouble, I need a solicitor tomorrow. I don't want a solicitor. I want this. Who is the person to go for the problem that I have that I want to deal with?
Yeah.
Same way with accounting. Same with anything. A doctor. If something is wrong with you, if any deficiency or whatever, I want to go to somebody who's going to tell me exactly what I need to know, and I want to be told now.
Yeah, and it is that's the passion. It is, yeah, and that's a key thing.
And I'm a passionate person, and it's probably one of my issues is that I'm a very passionate person. So then when you tend to meet somebody who's maybe less than passionate, I have to adjust myself for them to say, well, they're not in the same position as me.
Yeah.
Do you know? But there's no harm though, because we're training people who are younger to allow them to see what passion looks like, so they can actually then start to pour themselves into something.
Yeah.
We have a snowflake generation. We have a snowflake.
100%.
They are melting under heat.
Yeah.
Apply a little bit of heat or pressure and they're melting.
Yeah.
That's our biggest problem.
And do you think with that, just going, I suppose, a bit off topic, but like, is it a case of we have to accept and adapt to that, or is it a case of we go like, give them a little shake and say,
Okay, so we got a choice here. So we currently have, I refer to the snowflake generation. I don't want to say something's going to offend somebody, but at the same time, if 100 people watch this, I'm going to offend someone.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it. If someone tells me they're offended, fine, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And what can I do?
Exactly.
However, I don't want to tell people what they want to hear, because in order to get people to go from one position to another to change their lives, you got to tell them what they need to hear. The problem with the snowflake person or snowflake generation is that you tell them what they need to hear and they'll take offense to it. And then I'm supposed to take their offense to heart and readjust myself to them. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Yeah. Why would I do that?
Do you feel there's a constant battle, I suppose, then to say, let's bring it back to the fitness side of things, of like, someone comes to you and says, this is the problem I have, and you tell them, because you have experience, like, this is what you need to do, these are the mistakes you're making. Yeah. And they get offended by that.
But you see, I think there's probably a couple of different layers there, right? So we're talking about clients who come into the likes of your business here, and you've got a client, and you need to take them from one place to another. There's a lot of psychology involved there. That's different than say what I do, which is I'm trying to take somebody who's going to be a professional to take these people through a journey.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
So there's a whole different set of standards there that I would deal with or allow to happen. If the person is a client, my job is to educate them about where they are, get where they want to go, because your client may very well want to become a sports person, become maybe a bodybuilder or whatever it is that they want to become, and then you take them from one place to another, right? But if I'm training a trainer who's going to then come and you interview them someday, like we've had plenty of times referring people on, and say, here's somebody who can make it as a trainer if you give them a chance, an opportunity and a job. I can't recommend somebody like that. They may get qualified, right? But as far as me recommending them to become the person who then looks after this person here, which is representative of your business, there's very different levels there. So the client person, yes, I'm willing to coax them along, let them see what they want to do, let the doors open for them so they see where they're going. But if I have someone here who's telling me they want to become a trainer and they're going to deal with these people, you can't really accept this whole snowflake thing, because they have to learn the correct way to do this. Yeah. Like I always say to people, 80% of your ability to succeed in your life is going to be based upon your ability to deal with other people. If you can't deal with other people, you've got you're probably not going to be successful.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. Yeah.
So when you tell something to somebody and then they take offense to it, I never said it to offend them. I'm telling them because they need to hear it.
Yeah.
So let's say you've got somebody working for you in a job here, and it's your business. You have to protect your business and your clients. And then somebody comes in and works for you, and they might be learning the ropes, and it takes a long time to get really good, right? So they're allowed to make mistakes. You cannot learn without making mistakes. So you as a boss has to allow them to make those mistakes, right? Now let's say they make a mistake and you come to them and say, look, whatever your name is, such and such a thing is after happening. We don't want that to happen because that can affect our business and ultimately affect your job, right? Now that person can turn around and say, Ian, thanks a million for telling me that. I get it. I'm going to really, look at what I did, and I'm going to learn from this, and I'm going to move forward. Shake your hand on it. Now they have another string to their bow, and now they have more mileage on their clock. Or they can just turn around and go, well, I feel offended, and you're giving out to me, and now I might go home and cry, or tell my parents, and then they all tell me that I'm a lovely person. Do you know what I'm saying to you? We've got to be able to, you can never become a good leader unless you are first a good follower. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or a good student, or whatever way you want to describe it. And therein lies what I see from my level, training people who want to become professionals, trying to instill that passion to them, to understand that there is no one formula to achieve something. There's no client walks in the door and go, do this, this, and this, and then they'll achieve all their dreams, and you're a great trainer. I the Tigers playing in the background, and it all looks great. That isn't how it works. So they've got to learn. That's what I think that's the false belief people have, though. It is. It's just give me this and tell me what to do, and here we go. Yeah. I get it all the time. And I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not knocking students. I'm not knocking anything. But I will get people who come in and they'll say to me, I'll give them case studies to do and things that they got to do, or make a workout for me, take somebody through this workout, and they keep checking every bit of the workout with me. And I'm saying, I can tell you the answers to what you're looking for. I'd rather you discover the problems, come back, discuss the problems with me, because then you found them for yourself. Make the decision, live by the sword, die by the sword. You're allowed to make mistakes. If you make the mistakes, then you can see what happened and you can readjust it for the next time. If I keep telling you and leading you by the hand, telling you exactly what you need to do, because I had to go through the difficulty of learning it, you don't learn anything. Yeah, the problem I feel there is with that, is that just hand me this and tell me what to do mentality is when you come away from the crutch, which would be you, or come away from the crutch of you when, say, ATP, when you join, if you didn't learn anything, you still have the rest of life to face. You have problems to face, and if you haven't learned anything, or when you hit a problem where someone dealt with that loads of times before for you, now you have no idea how to deal with it, and it's a bad world out there, and that's what people don't for me, the number one, no matter what anybody does, no matter where they work, what they work at, it doesn't matter where they're at now, whether they're earning 12 grand a year or 112 grand a year, your blueprint should always be that you want to make yourself better. Your blueprint should be to grow. When you see a flower going out of the ground, it doesn't go, well, I've grown and I'm going to stop here. Yeah. It keeps growing in the direction of the sun. It keeps going. Yeah. So we should be the same. So to do that, we've got to put in the graft. You got to work hard. You got to face obstacles. You got to overcome the obstacles. You got to live by the decisions that you made. But at least you're doing it. Yeah, I think so. And say that the industry we're in now and where we're at, it is a boom. But right now, still the fitness industry, 100%. Absolutely is. Do you think it's going to continue to boom? And where do you see it going? Say in 5-10 years time, where where we're at now with the PT? It's more PT studios than kind of gyms really anymore. Now, if you think about it. I think if you go back about 10 years ago, I remember saying at the time, I wasn't doing the current job that I'm doing now. I'm going into my 9th year in total doing that. But I remember thinking the fitness industry is going to segment or fragment, right? So it's going to move away probably from, this is what I was saying back then, moving away from everybody joining a large gym and then just going down to the gym floor doing their thing, to maybe places setting up to do specific things and then people going for them. Now a lot of people hold on to their gym membership and still go to a gym, so for PT, or they go to classes, or they go for strongman, or they go for Olympic lifting, or they go for whatever it is that they go. They still might hold a membership in a gym. And it kind of did go that way. It did. Kind of segmented and started to segment. Now, I suppose to see what's going to happen in the future, you got to look at other countries that are already ahead of us and what their fitness industry is doing. So the likes of America, Canada, Australia. Look at London, right? And what you have is you've got a lot of specific style places that people resonate with, and they go there. Yeah. But you also have then where the large gyms have everything under one roof. So a large public gym is not just like the likes of the ones that say are in here around Cork, whatever. They are massive, and they have all of those different segments under the one roof. You know, yeah. But what I also notice is there is a big difference between the fitness industry in Cork and the fitness industry in Dublin.
Is there?
So there is. So like going back about a year or 18 months ago, I covered one of our courses in Dublin. Just for one term, I covered, and I did 1 day a week in Dublin. The industry was different, you know. Now I worked in the industry in Dublin back in say 2009, 2010, right into 2011 even, before I moved back, and it's not that it is completely different, but some of the emphasis on things are different. People's willingness to part with their money for certain things was different. The business end of it was a little bit different, you know. Indeed. So you'll probably see that there will always be differences between the different places.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, do you feel like, I suppose, for PTs maybe who might be watching this thinking about coming through, do you think it's just going to grow and grow?
It has to. Here's the thing though, I'd say to anybody. When anyone tells you a market is saturated, when anybody tells you that, oh, there's no point in doing that because there's too many people or whatever, you've got to remember, you have to learn to value yourself. You've got to be able to learn the tricks that determine what your value is. So when somebody tells you there's too many there already, to me that's a load of bull. Because I can make myself in any industry that I have a passion for one of their very best in doing that. Look, I'll tell you, it was simple. My story was I came to start Image Fitness in Cork that was already established in Dublin, right? That was, say, in 2011. So we sat down and we decided to work it out. I said it to a few people. I was teaching a smaller course in Dublin at the time, right? And I said it to a few people who said, well, there's no way you can go up against X, Y, and Z, won't name names, but everybody knows who they are. You can't go up against them because they already have the name in the market. And I thought, well, I can't, if I allow that into my head, I am then trying to make my career and establish my passion and put my stamp onto something that is a version of what they think it is and they're not in it. So I had to stand up and go, right, okay, I just have to put all this out of my head, put my head down, understand that when you plant the seed in the ground, the grass doesn't grow straight away. It takes a length of time before the grass starts to come through. And that is exactly what happened. And I said, if I take the things that I felt that I needed when I was training, match them to the qualification, because you've got a standard, you've got a standard criteria. And a minimum standard criteria that you must meet. But if I can take the things that I felt I could have done with, put them in on top of that, right? Create a little bit of time for people to ask questions and to even talk about their own training or own people or whatever, the things that they heard on television, on the radio, whatever. If I can do that, that's where the education is. To be able to talk. And I guarantee you, if you ask anybody, 5 years later, recall something from the course, they probably recall some of the conversations we had rather than exactly what's in the manual. And that's not an insult to the course or to me or to Image Fitness or anything like that. It's because it's those extra things, right? So when I went in, I just had to put my head down. We started with one course. You were on it.
Yeah.
And we just went from there. And I said, I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to put everything into this. I'm going to try and and instill a passion into these people. Some will get it, some will not. Yeah. And you know what? It took a little bit of time. But I got there. Yeah. Do you know? I got there. I know
you're probably the most well respected in Cork, that I know of. And so anytime a CV comes in from Image Fitness, we definitely take a look. And that's great.
And kind of that's how it works as well. So you get a CV in, you see my name on that CV, you know me, you can pick up the phone, you can give me a shout, I can talk to you. Do you know? And to establish that relationship with some of the gyms in Cork, some of the PT places and the larger, public gyms as well, has been brilliant for me. Yeah. Now it takes a lot of my time. I don't get paid for it. I do it on my days off, but I always do it. Yeah. The man who does more than he gets paid for will always have work. You'll always have
work. That comes back to the snowflake thing again. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't going to sit around and say at home, today's my day off, I'm not going to reply to that. Exactly. I'm probably one of those people that if you message me, you will get a reply from me. Yeah. Bar something happens. And for some reason I didn't see it or something like that, you'll always get a reply from me. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning, it could be 2 o'clock in the morning when I actually get to bed and I sit down and I go through, okay, I have 5 emails, I have 3 text messages and I will do them sitting in bed, but you'll get a response from me. I'm not going to say, well, it's my time, I'm not in work right now, oh, it's after 5 o'clock, I turn on. That life doesn't exist with me.
It's that work ethic, I suppose, and that comes down to mindset. We'll touch a bit more on later on, different people, different mindsets, but like with the fitness industry side of things, I suppose like what I'd like to know is, so like it's kind of come full circle regards people 30 years ago, 40 years ago, speaking for my dad and one of them anyway, food, like nutrition wasn't the thing they even thought about,
No.
And that kind of fed through to a lot of the generation, which led to the obesity epidemic or whatever. Do you believe 2 generations from now, with like the way we're going, that it'll be a little different? People are more educated, like do you think it's people, not enough people are educated?
Do you know what? It's so hard to predict because when an industry grows and it's now easier than ever for anybody to have a gym membership or to get access to a gym or to get access to exercise or to get access to information for exercise, right? When I started and I thought I was going to be the next coming of Arnold Schwarzenegger when I was 18 turning 19 years old, for me to get information, there was nobody where I lived. Someone told me that there was a guy that used to compete years ago. That guy was in his 60s. I couldn't even find him. And then when I wanted to get information, the internet was there, but I had to book into the library to be able to sit down, to get on the internet, to be able to get the information I needed, and then pay whatever amount of pence at the time it was per sheet. I can't remember. but to pay X amount of pence per sheet to be able to print off the information I needed and go home and read it, or get a book on bodybuilding in the library or whatever. Yeah. Now people have it, like my phone there in my pocket. I can have everything in 2 seconds, right? So you think with that will come probably a consciousness of fitness, and it is, but everything has an equal and opposite reaction. Now we've got a child obesity epidemic. Where children, so we're in August heading for September, kids are going back to school at the end of this month. We got kids who are wearing 38-inch pants in primary school.
That's crazy.
Now, that's not the child's fault, and I know people don't want to hear this. That is the parent's fault, and I don't care what the excuse is of he doesn't like this and he doesn't like that and she doesn't eat this and she doesn't eat it because you never created the awareness to eat it and you always gave them something else. Now, I know that. I was a savage of a child to eat, and of course if you gave me junk food I'd eat it from morning till night, but the fact is I didn't get it. Okay, so with that then, to answer your question, will come these issues that we now have of child obesity epidemics. We've got an increase in cardiovascular disease, we've got an increase in type 2 diabetic conditions, so we've got so while the curve is increasing over here in fitness and awareness of fitness and health and eating and nutrition and all those other things, we also have this proportionate rise in all of the reverse side of that.
It's a bit mad because you think, my belief is that we educate enough people that they now know, so someone who comes in and becomes fully educated on just overall health, nutrition, that they can pass that on to their children. But I do feel we've missed a generation. I do feel it'll be hopefully not the people training now, will be their kids that will eventually have it, which, and they're going, it has to be the parents become educated. So there's some really good initiatives I see in schools at the moment. It's fantastic, really good, great work, but they're still going home to the parents. So I think we need to tackle that.
I agree 100%. And here's the thing, I've had a few school teachers on the courses, loads of them actually, and talked about, the way they do the no sugar day in school and they do the no sugar. No. If I had a child of 5 years old, would not want them to be told, you can't do this, can't do this, can't do this, and you can't do this, because now we're creating an awareness of, I want to do this, right, with certain children. I'll take control of it, and when they're old enough to make their own decisions, hopefully they'll make better decisions. That's easy for me to say because I don't have any children, right? You can cross the line very easily. So if we said, there's a no junk food day in school, that's fine, and then maybe the school does something to give them alternatives, and then so there's an education rather than just don't do this.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's what we're missing.
Don't do that, because we can, especially with girls, happens to guys as well, and I have loads of experience with this. We can, the razor's edge We can dance to either side of the razor's edge of, we're trying to make you aware of health, and we can tip over the other side to an eating disorder, like that.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. And that's this mentality of like, you can't have something but not necessarily knowing why, and then you associate that's bad, and that's not necessarily bad. It's that, again, it's the lack of education. But what I see, and I've said this to Kean a few times, I feel like we're trying lots of things. I just don't think we've got it fully right yet in the schools. Like, there was a thing about one of the teachers was telling me there's a thing, it's a food thing where they swap a food for a healthy food and like a piece of vegetable or whatever. She said once there was like, to get the food you gotta like no homework or whatever. There was kids in a gagging eating like vegetables, and they're going like, that's not necessarily giving them a good experience either.
It isn't. It isn't.
And that's the thing, it's that experience that they're getting is going to relate. But if they're coming home then and the parents still don't have any of the education of what food is and what it does, then they're just going to be going back to square one.
100%. 100%. And that is the problem.
And I think like the other side of it, I think the activity side is a massive part of it. So like getting kids moving, it's unbelievable. Especially, and I always say, I feel very old when I'm speaking about, you know, phones and iPads and stuff like that, like, you know. But I don't believe, from talking in a few schools myself, going in and speaking, telling people, come off your phone, come off your iPad, it's not going to work. So we need to find a better way.
It's the generation.
Yeah, exactly.
It is
so
generation.
Again, what you see is people tackling, going, we need to get them off their iPads, get them off the phones, get them outside playing. Yeah. That's not where we're going. Well, that's ideal, but that's not going to happen. So
because you see, you've also got problems in there as well. Is that, like, okay, so on my next birthday, next April, I'll be 40, right? Things that we could do, and it makes me sound old when I say this, years ago, like I feel like I'm like my parents now. But things that you could do years ago are not really conducive to doing them today. You can't we could always walk to school. So we were getting exercise for 25 minutes of what it took me to walk from my house to my school, you know, at a brisk walk now, and walk home at evening time. I eventually got a bike, and then I used to go home at lunchtime. So I go down in the morning, back at lunchtime, back after lunch, back home at evening time. So you're getting a bit of exercise, right? You can't have little kids walking to school nowadays, because now the world is not conducive to that, in case we've got people trying to kidnap them, pick them up, hurt them, do things to them. So it's not conducive. Yeah. And not saying that didn't exist back then, but it seems that we have a problem now. Like, you know, we got to be very careful of that. We got to be responsible for the kids. Like, I couldn't have a child walking to school the next minute they got missing, and I mean, you know, or whatever. So there's certain things we can't do that we could do. So there's no point in us harping back to when they could do them, we can't do them. If you go back to the previous generation, you could leave your front and your back door open all night when you went to bed. We can't do that. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we've got, as you said, we've got to grow with the times. Yeah, but I was asked to sit in a focus group for the HSE to talk about what we could do. Basically what you're saying is to create more of awareness of healthy eating, and so on, so on, so on. And one of the questions I asked them is, why do you want to create a consciousness of healthy eating? Look at your food pyramid. Yeah. Problem number one. The second thing as well is, you increase the VAT rate on health supplements. Problem number two. So you want to ease an issue here, and then you're burning the issue over here.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You can't go left. You can't turn left when you will need to go right, but you still turn left and know that you need to go right. You can't do that. Do you know?
Another bizarre one for me, I don't know how you feel about it, was the sugar tax. I thought it was like, that's not a solution to a problem whatsoever.
Let's punish everybody for people who can't control themselves.
Yeah, it's just crazy. So I think, again, what happened was I read a review, an 80-page document on obesity in Ireland, what they plan on doing, tackling it, and they just came across that they had a one-day, like, loads of professionals, fantastic, like, but they had a one-day seminar then on it, and then they came together with this document of what they're going to do, and it's like, we're going to throw this at the wall and just see what sticks. Like, it just needs to be, for a grander scale side of things, like, you know, it needs to be a different kind of...
It needs to be holistic. Yeah. It needs to cover everything.
And that's what I think, coming back to clients, is that we've grown up initially now thinking it's just exercise, it's just nutrition. Whereas now I think we're getting to a stage where we're realising it's an overall, all-round approach.
Absolutely.
You're eating crap food because, why? Like, what's leading to that? It's not just, I want crap food or lack of education, and there's other reasons behind that. Yeah. You know, and then chasing exercise as, I'm going to exercise 6 times this week, and that'll do me, but like not knowing that that's not really going to help unless you look at the deeper issues. Like.
Yeah, which is why I said to you earlier on, so then from my point of view, being up here trying to train trainers to become the professionals to deal with these issues is that it goes way beyond just the exercise, just the eating this food, just all these things. It runs so much deeper. Yeah. Now try and educate people to be good at that. to actually get inside the heads of people.
And it's very challenging because I suppose we've had conversations in here from, you know, in staff meetings and stuff, and some people have said to me, like trainers and stuff, like, Ian, we're not like life coaches, we're not, you know, counsellors, you know, and they're going like, we're not, but just it's still part of, if you're comfortable, it's part of it. Like if you look at somebody who comes in massively stressed, can you help them with their stress? Like, you know,
any good trainer, when they get a chance, everyone needs a leg up. Everybody needs a chance in the world, yeah. But when they get the opportunity, if they want to become a personal trainer or whatever, and they're going to work for somebody like you, they're not going to go do their own thing. They're going to get the experience. Every trainer should realize very, very quickly that the natural progression to this is to look at some area of psychology, look at sports psychology, look at general psychology because the human brain works. Look at coaching, life coaching, and all those things, because they are holistically all connected to each other and will feed into each other. No education you ever do along that line will ever be wasted.
I completely agree. As in, I think like when you listen to somebody speak and you realise, right, this person's main issue isn't the fact that they haven't been exercising, there's a couple of other things going on here, and even if you don't have the experience talking to anybody who might be watching it to tell them, then you guide them to where to go. Let's go, look, why don't you go speak to this person who might have that qualification that you might be comfortable talking to.
100%.
And that's very, very important, I think. And that's what I'm hoping the industry is going towards, is that, you know, nutrition and exercise are big tools, but there's five, like I believe there's 6 or 7, I think, like, you know, good relationships. I think, you know, looking after stress, looking after sleep, having a purpose in life, your mindset, they're all things that will really help people improve their overall lives. Whereas if we just tackle nutrition or just tackle exercise, you're missing the big picture. Like.
Because what you're doing is you're addressing the symptoms.
Yeah.
And we all know that we can address symptoms all we like, but the real magic happens when we can address the underlying issue.
Yeah.
And then we can work.
And a lot of people just don't want to go there, is what I found. Like, you know, but if you can get a person to open up to themselves and get there, that's where, like, and the frustration I suppose we have is that I've seen people open up to themselves, be honest with themselves, and get unbelievable life-changing results and like change their entire life. And you know, when you see people, you're like, oh, if we can get everyone else to do it, but some people are just completely, you know, they don't want to go down that route.
They don't want to go down that road. They don't want to take responsibility.
Yeah,
they don't want to open up. I call that having a come to Jesus meeting with yourself. I always say that to my students. You have to have a come to Jesus meeting with yourself. You have to sit down in the cold light of day and go, what's the situation here? And it's hard. It's very hard. It's never been easy for anybody.
Yeah, it is hard, because if you think I don't talk on it about, you know, being on a diet for the rest of your life, people who are on these diets for the rest of their lives are the ones who are not looking at as a whole. They're just done this diet, done this exercise, didn't work for me, I better go again. And you're like, there's a reason you're falling off the wagon. It's not necessarily, some diets are horrendously bad that people are giving, but it's other issues that are going on. So like, people need to wake up and kind of realise that there's other ways to do it.
Huge underlying issues there. And you meet them all the time. It's one of the great things about being a trainer, and especially when you're like dealing with people. You know, I think if you did it for 150 years, somebody will walk in on the 150 year in one day, and you'll go, never found this before. Yeah,
well, that's I think the groundwork, like from walking on the floor as a PT, is massive. Like, you know, the amount of people you meet, I've trained thousands of clients. And not one of them are the same, you know, and that's so if we're just branding things of like, off here you go, and that's the big challenge, I think, to have a large scale impact on things, is that we're in an industry where we picked one where it's like, it's not like accounting, you know, everything is different, and it's just like so how trying to put a single solution answer to a large problem.
I mean, the first principle of training always has been individuality. The principle of individuality. No one size fits all.
Yeah, so I think you need to kind of, again, that's where I believe then personally, it's from an educational point of view, that if you can give someone the tools, they know of a choice. And if they didn't do nothing with it, at least they have the choice. Whereas if people don't have that education or knowledge, they have a bit of an excuse.
I've had to be watching this, is going to somewhere who tells them one size fits all. They're lying or seriously misinformed and don't have the education. One of those. And
I suppose, like, you know, the positives in the boom in the fitness that we've seen are, I suppose, people are exercising more, you know, they're definitely more aware. Nutrition has become more, but like, what would you say, as big as it's after getting, the negative side of the boom in the fitness industry?
Okay, so I suppose for me, last year in April, say, of 2018, I succumbed to peer pressure and I made my first post on Instagram. Okay, so I've been on Facebook for years. A couple of my students were saying, geez, you're the only person on Instagram that has what I had at the time was about 600 odd followers with no posts, no likes. I didn't follow anybody back or anything like that. So I succumbed to peer pressure and I said, okay, you know what, I might post up here. I'm not going to do it relative to my work. I might put up a little bit of fitnessy stuff or throw up up to that point I hadn't taken a picture of myself in the gym. I'd never taken a picture of myself training.
That's rare.
Yeah. Now, if you go to my Instagram now, there's a few.
Yeah,
there's a few. There is a few, and I realised, this is the way it is, right? Yeah. This is the way it is. But during that time, when I jumped onto Instagram and I was having a look, I was blown away by the fakeness of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing. And I thought, if I was a girl or a guy in my teens, or whatever, if I was really young, I would, not knowing what I know, so let's say I didn't know what I know, I would feel that was representative of reality, and that reality, I couldn't fit it. That would make me feel horrible about myself.
I think that's what we see.
So if there's people out there who feel that they can't live up to what they're seeing on Instagram, that's good.
Yeah.
Because the people who are on Instagram can't live up to themselves on Instagram.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, to be honest. Yeah.
They don't. Now, the same thing happened years ago, which was open a magazine, right? Yeah. So we're going real old school now. Open up a magazine, look at a competitor, either a pro athlete, usually bodybuilder. For me, it was like bodybuilding, right? So I look at a bodybuilder on stage and I go, oh my God, like to look like that. And then years later, for me to realise, they look like that on that day. And I have loads of friends who are bodybuilders. I'm not, I train like a bodybuilder, but I don't compete, and I did when I was 19 and 20. And when I look at my friends now, and I've got one particular friend who comes to train with me, and he's a pro, and I admire him for what he does. But the reality of it is, he'll tell you himself, I look like that on the day. Hopefully, if all goes well, I will look like that on the day.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't happen the day before, or it doesn't happen the day after. Do you know what I mean? Which is where the learning curve is for these people to be able to get to this point. So for me, opening up a magazine and thinking, I want to look like that, I had no idea what it took, the type of person it took, all of the other things associated around that. And then the reality of the fact is that it is a one-day thing. Now, I don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that these people don't look awesome all year round. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because they are in shape. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the snapshot of that picture in that moment in time is not reality. Yeah. Now, like, you can filter your pictures. Now, I'm not saying that like an uneducated person. Yeah. I'm not really good. I can't use, I can't use the Photoshopping. Yeah. I can't use Photoshop. Yeah. I'll admit it, right? But I know that when you scroll across your picture, you can change the filters as you go, right? And those filters make a huge difference to your picture. Now, if I go Photoshop, I could make myself look completely different. I can't, right? I don't want to learn how to do it. I don't care to learn how to do it, right? But and then you put that up there. Now, everybody can have professional looking pictures that are not actually representative of reality. And how do I know this? Because I've met them.
Yeah.
I have, and I'm not putting anybody down, met plenty of people through my work and otherwise, that I had seen on Instagram, and when I met them in person, was like, oh.
Yeah. And that is the case. I suppose, even speaking from my personal point of view, I've done 3 bodybuilding shows and done photo shoots.
I remember, yeah.
And like what I learned from them, so I kind of talk not badly of them, but it's just the experience I got when people are going doing them. Like, are you sure? Because again, it is that one day that you're in that shape, and everyone will give you the kudos for getting to that shape. But like, I put on 7 kilos 2 days later, like after, and that's
because you fill up with water.
But it's me. It's me going, I know what's happening to my body here. I know how to diet it. I know what I'm after doing here. I know the weight I'm back on. Somebody who doesn't have knowledge,
that is
what the hell is after happening?
That is exactly what I'm saying. You talk to any pro athlete, pro bodybuilder, pro fitness model, or whatever, they get it. This is what we do. We diet down. This is the way we feel. We come to the end. We do our shots. It's over. Here's what we do. Yeah. Either a person looking at that aspires to that and then gives themselves a hard time because they are not there now, and they might be going to the gym, they might be eating well, they might be doing their fitness or doing their sport. It doesn't have to be the gym. Whatever it is that they're doing, and they haven't reached that, and now they hate themselves.
Yeah, and that's, you see it all the time.
Then we have the people who decide that they too want to do a photo shoot. More power to you if that is what you want to do.
100%.
However, when people, sometimes I get plenty of people who I know are students or whatever saying, I'm going to do a photo shoot, what do you think of going to this person to prep me or whatever, and I say, yeah, do, yeah, but just remember this, have a plan for the day after it finishes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I have seen it firsthand. Obviously, I'm not going to name names, but I promise you, I'm telling you the truth when I say I have had people contact me in a state mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally. They're not so much in a state physically, because
still in good shape,
but they're in very good shape. The day, or to say the week after, or 3 weeks later, they'll contact you about, I did my photo shoot 3 weeks ago, I feel so terrible about myself, I haven't been to the gym in the last 3 weeks. I'm like, why? And it's because you didn't have a plan for the day after the photo shoot ended. It's like coming to the edge of the cliff and falling off.
Yeah.
And it's a lesson in life that, first of all, like I said, these people know what they're doing. The pros know what they're doing. These people need to be told that this happens, and they need a plan for this ends.
Yeah.
But the problem is, what happens, and I've seen happen, is they will do this, they fall off the cliff, cycle of, in some cases, depending on the person, may actually get depressed. Not clinical depression, but may get depressed. Feeling terrible about themselves, so got a cycle going, right? So then what they do is, they start posting pictures, from the shoot. So, throw back to when I look like this, throw back to when I, whatever. I'm like, okay. I can see what's going on in here for this person, like sitting at home, it's coming through my phone at me or my computer or whatever at me. So then what they do is they'll rebook a photo shoot to give them something to do to go again, which is now their goal, right? Which is, I always say to people, you should have your goals, because goals are then things for you to aim for. But the one thing that people always miss out on is that no goal probably holds the most beauty in the achieving of the goal at the end point. The beauty is always in the journey to that point, and the things that you learn and the other things that you get interested in, which is why you have to have short, medium and long-term goals, because then we don't just have one goal, and when it comes to the end, it's a massive come down.
Yeah, and I think it's huge from a mental health point of view. Definitely, look, because I've done it myself, but I can definitely see from experience, females, definitely more than males, struggle a lot harder when post-shoot. Like, they really find it very hard.
Because hormonally it's so hard for them.
Yeah, I'm very wary of like when a female says I want to do a shoot, it's like, are you sure? But as long as you understand the repercussions and what's actually happening, I'm okay with someone doing whatever, that's no problem. But
me too.
It's when you don't know and don't understand is where the issues come. But like, speaking on the goals there, a big one I've found over the years is a bride. So when a bride comes and it's the wedding is the biggest thing in their life, okay, they're training with you for 6 months, for a year, all for this big day. I've seen it happen quite a few times now, where a bride has had the wedding, had their honeymoon, come back, and it's like deflated. I'm like, you're married. I go, this is kind of the idea. But it's like, they had this thing again coming to the edge of the cliff. I know you're getting married, you probably are jumping off the cliff, but I've seen it happen where people don't have another goal set up and ready to go, and I think that's very important for people to understand, that this large goal, like, you can't, it's not just that.
Yeah. But you've got to have goals in all areas of your life. I mean, like, fitness has been so much of my life for years, Like, my very first job was radio. So I started off in radio, and then I eventually kind of nearly mixed the fitness and the radio together, and training radio people and TV people and all that kind of stuff. But I have my interests. I have my goal. My whole life outside of my job does not revolve around me or my fitness or my body. Do I train religiously? Yes. And this is the one thing. I'm not patting myself on the back by any means at all, but I've been training for 20 years. You can't train for 20 years unless you got the knack of training. 100%. You get what I'm saying? There are people who've been training for 20 years where they train for 6 months, don't train for 6 months, train for a year, don't train for 2 years, train for that. Did you get me? Yeah. I have never gone away from it. I broke my back in 2002 from a fall off a horse. It sidelined me for about 4 months. That's the only break in training I've had for all those years. And even at that, I was still rehabilitating myself. Yeah. So like, what I always say to people is, I train all of the time. But I don't have to have this all-encompassing, nothing else happening in my life goal in fitness. Yeah. I go to the gym, it's my therapy. I train, I lift, I love to train. If I miss a day because there's something else happening in my life, do I sit there crying, or do I say, no, I don't. I don't. But yet I'm the one person that you will always see religiously training. Yeah.
And that's like something I think people need to understand. It's something I was going to do.
It's part of my lifestyle. It's my lifestyle.
You train regularly, okay? You train quite hard, but you train regularly. You also eat very well, okay? I train regularly, I eat well 80%, 90% of the time, okay? It allows me to have my KSCs and whatever I want. Yeah. That's great. But what I'm getting at is, I have not done a juice diet. You have not done extreme, like, unless you're cutting extreme low calorie diets. Not all these fad diets. People who are in shape year round, and not lean, ripped to death shape, but I'm saying in good health shape, we're not doing any of these diets. Yet people trying to lose weight are jumping on these diets. So like, would you not look at the person who's in good shape and think twice before you have your juice diet, your cutting out your carbs diet, whatever diet, you know? It's just madness.
Yeah, but this is why it doesn't matter whether it's fitness, like relationship goals, money goals, finances, job. It doesn't matter. When you set a goal, one of the things you should always do is look at somebody who does the thing already that you want to do.
Yeah.
What did they do? That's what you have to do.
I completely agree. So like, people need to stop doing the stuff that we're not doing.
Yeah. Why would, like as you said, I don't do juice diets, I don't do any, I have my regime of eating, I don't eat like somebody in contest prep, I don't eat like somebody who's about to do a photo shoot, I'm not as lean as somebody who's going to do a photo shoot, but I'm a pretty big guy at 106 kilos, 365 days a year, I'm fairly lean for a big guy as well, it just is the way that I am. I'm not as lean as those people, as I said, but it's what I do all year round. I don't need, now it's probably because we've done a lot of work on ourselves in here, I don't need that one particular goal of getting shredded to death to make me feel validated, because my training is holistic to me, not just one thing. I love it because it's part of my life. I love it because it's like my therapy. It's like my time away. It serves so many other parts of my life. So why would Mary or Paddy, because it's just a generic name, I have both names in my family, right? But why would Mary or Paddy make an investment like this for a return of this that doesn't fit into their lifestyle?
Yeah.
Why would you want to be the regular person and like ketogenic is like they're all doing right now, fine if it fits in, and
we'll get into it in a second.
But fine, but why would a regular person then limit themselves being able to go out with their friends, have a meal, go to the cinema, get a bit of chocolate? Why would you make that investment for a tiny return for a massive effort? And then you ask them, but what do you really want to achieve? And they just say, well, I just like to look good in clothes. You can do that 365 days a year and really enjoy your life. Because here's the long and the short of it is, you were born on this date, and the end date is going to be somewhere here. You don't know when it is going to be. So you better enjoy the time in the middle, yeah? I'm not saying that we get out of control, because then we've got people who are walking around endangering their lives because they're so overweight. I'm not saying any of those things. But I'm just saying, can you balance your life, be in shape all the time, enjoy your life? Absolutely. Do you need to give an investment for a tiny return? It's like buying a Formula 1 car to drive into town and home again and nothing else. Yeah. Why would you do that? Yeah. Why would you do that?
I think a big thing is that like people don't understand that a big thing we talk about here is balance. We try and get people to understand balance, but we also very clearly say you become overweight or obese due to an imbalance for a long period of time. You've ate way more than you should, drank way more than you should, so you're not going to get to this balance place without some sacrifice. Whereas people are looking for balance, like Monday to Friday will be good and Saturday to Sunday, but
just let rip.
Yeah, there needs to be sacrifice to get to where you want to be, and then you can have your weekend and come back in or whatever. I think that's what people are missing.
Yeah, but I think that if people when people are happy with the balance, there's no need to reach for this out of controlness, or whatever way you would describe it. There's no need to say, I have to let rip Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and I'm back on Monday. Because you are a content person. Balance. Yeah. That's all it is, really.
It is.
Now, I'm saying that's all it is. The amount of work required to get to that point varies from person to person. Yeah. I have seen people try to do it for years and not being able to achieve it. And then something happened in their life which caused a change like that. Yeah. That is what we need to find for people.
And that's it. It's that flick of the switch that you're like, and that's where we find
come to Jesus meeting.
Yeah.
What was it? I've met people who, like I've been involved in the area of treatment of anxiety disorders and so on for about 12 or 13 years. I've met people who mistook panic attacks for a heart attack, and then they end up in hospital. They put them on an ECG, they give them an echocardiogram, they give them a stress test on a treadmill or whatever. But in their mind during those times, they believed that there was something wrong with their heart and there's a risk of them dying here. That was enough. When they walked out the door, everything changed in their life. But it took that to make the change. Don't want to have every person go through that. But what it does tell you is the change and the ability is within you, and no external force is required except for you to make the decision to do it. But in some people it takes that for them to reach that decision.
On that side of things, like, you know, let's get into the mindset stuff. I suppose personally I've worked a lot on my own mindset, you know, the last couple of years, and it's really brought me on. One of the frustrations, I suppose, is realising where I was then and where I am now due to me working on it. People who don't know about mindset aren't into that kind of stuff, you know. Like, how do you get them to look at themselves and go, right, it's something in my head here that's making me like cut everything out for 6 weeks. I have a holiday. It's something in my head that's making me go, I'm going to go training 7 days a week flat out. I'm going to cut all my calories down. Like, to get them to look inside and go, why am I doing that? Like, how do you...
First of all, it kind of goes back to the conversation that we had earlier on. We don't teach this in school.
I since when I came out, the last couple of years, I've come across that. Like,
a 4-year-old, what age does a child start in school? 4 or 5 years of age. Imagine if you taught them to think for themselves, taught them how to do it. It would be so easy. But the problem is we'd have far superior adults, which are now probably referred to as the small percentage of people who are woke, awake, get it. Yeah. We'd have an awful lot more. Problem with that is it doesn't all suit society, because now you can't really control people so much. Right? We need to start teaching children how to do that. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like I was at a seminar, did a course online through America, and I was at an online seminar, right? And they were talking about business, okay? And I won't get off the topic, but I'm just saying, they're talking about business. And people talk about going to college and doing a business degree and then going on doing a master's, whatever. And they were asked, when was the last time, when you were in college, did you receive a class on running a business? Starting a business. What was the class on starting a business? There never was one.
Yeah.
So talk about business, and you can't have a business unless you start a business, but there was no class in a business degree on starting a business.
And I know from experience it's a daunting task, like, you know.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Right, so everything, so much of our ability, it actually comes, so much of the things that we need to do to get where we need to go is coming down to things that we've got to learn for ourselves, because nobody teaches them to us in our formal education the whole way up through our lives. So I would say that the first thing we need to do is start with kids. If I was now I couldn't be a primary school teacher, right? I teach adults all the time, and probably the youngest student I have now is 16. But I couldn't take the responsibility of teaching a 4 or 5 year old because of the imprint. So the people who do that are special people. Primary school teachers are special people, especially those first years of when they're 4 and 5 and 6 years old, or Holy Communion, up to the Holy Communion or whatever. You're teaching them how to read, how to write, how to count, all these things. But those people are probably gifted enough that if they worked on themselves, they could actually probably give this to these kids.
100%. Yeah.
You know, and that requires them to do other stuff. But in relation to, what would you ask me that question again?
So the much as, I suppose, trying to get someone to understand that it is their mindset more than the nutrition and the exercise stuff. You get they're the tools, but if you get up here right, is the key. But how do we get into people to look at themselves that way?
I think that, well, first of all, you probably will have to go down the line of like research, reading, listening to other people. Find people who are good at that kind of thing and listen to them. Now, before, people would tell you, well, I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to do that. No. It's free. It's free. I did a course before, going back a number of years ago, an American course, which I paid quite a lot of money to do on a monthly basis. I paid it by the month, which is available online, free.
Yeah.
Now, am I mad about that? Nah, because I'm glad now it's accessible to people. It was what it was at the time, and I did it back then, right? Another example, just before I say what I need to say. I, on Facebook, going back about a year ago, was looking at a guy who had previously been posting and showing signs of a person who may not be okay. What's that mean? I don't know. I felt if somebody rang me up and told me that guy took his own life, I wouldn't have been surprised, right? So I was reading some of these things about my life isn't going like this, I don't have this, and I don't have this, and this. I said, you know what, I'm going to reach out to him. Problem with reaching out to people uninvited is that you run the risk of having the door shut in your face. But I'm fine with that. If somebody shuts the door in my face, that's fine, because I have a clear conscience that, you know what, I have information I can give to you that can help you, and if you want to take that information, I can give you that information. If you don't want it, that is your business. But so be it. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, right? And I said to him very basically, and I said, this wasn't we didn't have a conversation through word or whatever. This was literally written in private messages, right? And I said to him, you need to sit down and you need to make a list, right? I can't even really remember what it was about. But I remember saying to him, you need to sit down and make 2 lists. I even said to him, get a sheet of paper, divide it in 2, make the list, here's the head in this side, here's the head in this side. I can't remember what it was now. His response back to me was, oh, me and lists don't really go together.
Yeah, that's it. That is it though. That's the response you get from people.
What do you do?
It's not for me, or I'm not into it. I'm now going, have you really given it a go? Have you really, or have you just tried one part of it and thought that's not for you? Thinking like, I've often mentioned people join meditation, something like that and it's like, oh, I'm not into meditation. I'm like, have you tried? Yeah, I tried breathing, and then I sit and walk. I'm like, it's you haven't tried, like, and but it's more than that. It's like writing, life goals. It's like having a diary. It's a big one that one of my mentors made us do, our business mentor made us do, the hardest thing I've ever done. He made us write out a perfect life. Now, there's no such thing as a perfect life, but to sit down and have to write out, right, this is what I think my perfect life is, one of the hardest things ever. But when I done it, it was like, right, to get that, now I need to kind of do these few things. It gave me that clear direction.
Yes, it's just direction. It's direction. But to answer your question though, everything in your life to achieve it will come down to how you see yourself, and I mean in the brutal reality of what is your opinion of yourself. Not what I ask you, or you ask me, say, and I say, well, I think I'm a good... when there's nobody there, and you're on your own, in the cold light of day, and the brutal honest opinion of you in here that you probably won't say to anybody else, what is your opinion of yourself? That is reflected out here.
Yeah.
All of that is a reflection of what's happening. All of that is reflected out here. So everything out here is a reflection of that belief. Now you can call that your blueprint. You can call it your subconscious belief of yourself, because we mostly work subconsciously anyway. We're probably 40% of the time consciously doing stuff. We're probably mostly unconscious or subconsciously doing stuff. So what is that belief that you have of yourself? I saw this training clients all the time. Very basic example would be, somebody would come in, they'd lose a bunch of weight, don't even need to go through the journey or whatever, let's say they just lose a bunch of weight, they arrive X amount of time later like a new person, and then you find out that they kept their fat clothes at home. They kept the clothes from when they were fat at home. And you say to them, why did you do that? In case of. So now you realise this is what we need to work on. We need to work on how you see yourself, because I don't know about you, but I didn't wake up this morning thinking I might go out and buy a couple of pairs of jeans, a couple of tops that might be 3 or 4 times too big for me in case I gain weight over the next few months. Because that's not my consciousness. So now the work with that client is in their consciousness. So if they are your PT client, your job now in terms of the symptoms of working with them, doing the nutrition and doing the training or whatever, is really this much. All of this much is working on how they see themselves.
One of the biggest things I think, I don't know, is it just my mentality, but I personally believe as soon as somebody becomes aware, if you're aware of something that you're doing, whether it be habit or whatever, if you're aware you're doing it and it's not something that's positively affecting you, you can change it. Like you can. You can, like, so literally it's like something that it's like something that's just like a eureka moment for me, was realising, like, if I'm doing something in my life on a day-to-day basis and I'm mindlessly doing it, but I'm like, right, this isn't helping me here, you can change it, but it's getting that awareness first of it.
It's the awareness. So that's a really good point, because I've had this before as well. I say this to my students all the time. People who, let's say somebody is not fit, it could be a friend or a family member, because you know yourself, friends and family don't see you in the role that you are professionally. So like I've been present in conversations about fitness and things that were completely rubbish, but like, sure, what would I know, because it's my own family that are talking about it. Like, sure, that's just Alan, whatever, like, they don't know you in your job or professionally in the way that other people do. And I've often had people say, oh, but it's grand for you because you have the discipline. I'm like, what? So you think that I wake up in the morning and I don't have to make conscious decisions? You think that I was born like this? You think that whatever? And I'm saying, you have the discipline. They say, I don't have the discipline. I said, no, you do have the discipline. They say, no, I don't have the discipline. And I say, no, you do have the discipline. Because let's turn it on its head, right? So let's say we take a person who's obese, right, or being told by their doctor or health professional, you're morbidly obese, your life's in danger, you're already got type 2 diabetes, you're developing it, the risk of cardiovascular disease, myocardial infarction, heart attack, whatever is all now becoming out of control. Your blood lipids, everything is wrong, you need to do something about it, right? Now, if I meet that person today and I meet that person 4 months from now and the person is still overweight, they carried out the perpetual behaviour on a daily basis that allows them to be overweight. I carried out the behaviour on a daily basis that allowed me to be who I am. Yeah. And let's say that they refer to that as being fit or in shape or big muscle lad or whatever they refer to that. So the fact is that they did have the discipline, but the discipline was pointing in the wrong way. Yeah. So it was destructive rather than helpful to them, but they still had the discipline, because let's face it, if they see living my life as being difficult because I have the discipline, I can't live their life because I don't want to be like that. So for me to live their life is very difficult. Yeah. Just as difficult as they're claiming it is for them to live mine. Yeah, no. So what needs to change? The perpetual daily rituals or routine or whatever to carry out to get them where they need to go. But that will never change unless they view themselves differently in here to actually instigate that in the first place.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it doesn't mean it's easy, but it just means, I suppose, it's from experience that we've seen you can do it. Because we've seen people who might have been in that boat who thought they couldn't change or whatever, and then just they get it. And it's like, I've often said to clients, they've come in after maybe 3 months. I've seen clients claiming for maybe 2 years, and she come in and is like, you got it.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have it. I'm like, you finally got it. And I just hate it. It's always up here.
And what I often say to people, I say this because, like, you know, fitness is not just the only area of my life that I'm interested in. Like, you know, I'm massively interested in the area of psychology. Why people behave the way they behave. I love it. Couldn't get enough of it. Right? So, and I don't really care whether I'm applying it to you know, the shape they're in or their relationships or their job or the amount of money they earn. I don't really care, because it's always the same principles apply really in the heel of the hunt, right? But when you tell people, show me your friends and I'll show you your future, they say you're the average of your 5 kind of closest people, or the people you spend the most time with, right? Yeah. Now, people say, you know, I hang around with people who are this and this. Do you think I should, you know, are you insinuating that I should change my friends? And I'm like, yeah, I am.
If that's not who you want to be.
Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Yeah. Because chances are, let's say, if we just keep to the fitness thing and the obese thing, let's say we've got people who are obese. I'm not coming down on people who are obese, because like, I'd be 100% happy to help them. But let's say they are, and they're hanging around with people who are also obese like that, and birds of a feather flock together. Like, if that one person wants to change and the rest of them don't, they're probably not going to be supported the way they're being supported. They're going to be told, you're grand the way you are, we love you the way you are. But that doesn't help anyone. Yeah. Telling them you love them the way they are isn't helping them. Yeah. The same way as if let's say you and I, or a whole bunch of lads who went to fitness, got together and training, and a young lad starts tagging along with us, chances are if he hangs around with us enough, he's going to start picking that up too.
100%, yeah. That's it.
Do you know? Yeah. So like a very good thing to do is to sit down, sheet of paper, don't even have to use your iPad, sheet of paper, on one side, write down all the people that you met this week. Or let's say today's Monday, right? So let's say we go to the end of the week. Write down all the people that you met this week, right? Then write down all the goals that you want to achieve. How many of those people fitted into those goals? And because if it's not at least like 80 or 90% of them, chances are you're with the wrong people.
Yeah, something to review and look at. Like that.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, like, you know, I suppose working on it, the mindset side of things is going to be uncomfortable for a lot of people. I think some people are only using it as an excuse now that, you know, it's all gone mindset and all gone meditation, whatever. It's not gone. It's just new. That's all it is. It hasn't gone too far. It's just no part of their overall.
But once people understand, if you do what you always did, you will get what you always got. Expecting to do the same thing and getting a different result is Einstein's theory of insanity, right? So therefore, to achieve something great or different will require you to behave in a great way or to do something different. So, you know, like the comfort zone that people live in, and we've all done it, yeah? The comfort zone is a horrible place to be in. Because once you reach the place which is, I have enough money to go on holidays twice a year, I can have my car, have my mortgage, and that's a horrible place to be in. Now there is no growth anywhere, because you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. And so some of the greatest change comes through the greatest challenges, and the times of your life, like the worst times of your life. is the times of the greatest growth, because you're now forced to do it. A lot of people can continue to do it without having to face that, but quite often it takes that time for people to reach that kind of come to Jesus meet with themselves, like, oh my God, my life is in a mess here, now I've got to do something different to get out of it. So just to reach that level of consciousness, and stepping outside your comfort zone is uncomfortable.
It is, and
like,
a lot of people don't want to do
and
it.
if people think that, like, yeah, sure, I'm stepping outside my comfort zone, if it doesn't feel intensely uncomfortable, you're not stepping outside your comfort zone. Like, I had somebody last year, I'm not going to name names, right? So, like, I'm very aware of what I'm saying, but, you know, and this is not the first time it's happened. I had somebody come to me last year, pull out of the course, right, that I was teaching them. And I said, okay, that's your decision, whatever. I want to sit down and talk to you. Why? Right? So get understanding why. And that person said to me, because I don't really like talking in front of people. So I said, so you signed up to become a personal trainer, and somewhere in your mind, it didn't cross your mind that you might have to speak in front of people. And I said, what you're experiencing is, you're stepping outside your comfort zone. Right? You can accept that and say, I'm actually growing here, but the minute the pressure is applied, what happens to the snowflake when you apply heat to it? Melts. Yeah. It melts and they're gone, right? Whereas the magic was happening at the point of the most discomfort. You were now doing something you've never done before, and it was making you better. It was pushing you on. And that is the very second then you called it a day and walked away from it. You walked away from the growth. Why? Because people are afraid to fail. If I was to do something new right now, let's say you put me in a group of people and I do something new, and I'd never done it before or whatever, I am happy to make an absolute ass of myself, because it's something new. I'm not expected to be an expert at something new. Yeah. And if I fall flat my ass, I'll fall flat my ass, and I'll get up and I'll say, well, look, I'll give it another try, or whatever I'll do, but I'll fall flat my ass. I'm not worried about what people have to say. I'm not worried that somebody's going to laugh at me, because everybody's in the same boat when they're picking up a new skill.
Yeah. So how about, like, you know, just on that, the anxiety side of stuff, for people who do worry about what people think about them, for people who do worry in case people laugh at them, like, what advice would you have for them? Do you know, because what annoys me, people say to me as well, Ian, it's easy for you to have a positive mindset. I'm like, feck off, I walk on that every single day. That's why I have a positive mindset. It's not easy, but I'm like, for someone who, like, you know, if I'd be like you, if I stepped into something new, it'd be kind of right, let's give it a go. Some people will not step into something new because of that fear, that crippling fear of what if I fail, or what if, like, what advice would you give to them?
Yeah. So that anxiety is different than when we read online about people suffering from anxiety, which is anxiety disorder. So it's two different things. We need anxiety to survive. Anxiety keeps us alive. I suppose when you do something new and challenging, that type of stress we refer to as eustress rather than a distress. Okay. Like, got fired from my job and I can't pay my bills. That's the type of stress that's distress. Asking you to do something that you get stuck into and actually be really good at, and challenges you, excites you and scares you all the same. That's eustress. That's the type of stress that you want. That makes you a better person and grow. But for the person who is afraid of what other people think of them, and we've all done it, let me tell you right now, like, it's probably one of the worst in the world for it. Trying to please everybody all the time and afraid for somebody to dislike me. You need to get over it.
That's fairly solid advice. Yeah.
Sorry, there is no way around it. There is no way to deal with it except for to get over it. Now, how do you get over it? You just have to do it. You got to do it. You can't please all the people all the time. You cannot do it. Like, I often look at politicians and I think, look at them doing their job. They are shredded every day of the week for what they do. I'm sure they don't read it anymore. They don't pay attention to it anymore. You've got to get on with your job and do the best you can do, knowing that when you are doing the best that you can do, that is all anybody can ask of you. I mean actually doing the best you can do, not just saying I'm doing my best, because so many people say they're doing their best, but they're actually not doing their best. I'm talking about when somebody really is doing their best. And we'll always have people who are like ducks to water at things, and other people have to work harder at it. But one of the things I remember doing, I can't remember where I learned this actually, but is walk into like a coffee shop, and they come up to serve and they say, "Are you okay?" Or when they say, "Yeah, what can I get you?" Stand there, look at the menu board or the board above you, and say nothing for 30 seconds.
Are we challenging enough?
Now, that level of discomfort is so bad because you got people behind you that want to get served. Yeah, you got the person who wants to serve because they got other people to serve as well, and you're taking your time. But feel it. Feel that discomfort. That's good for you. Feel that discomfort. You don't do it every time that poor person. But feel that discomfort, even just to feel it once. That is what you've got to get used to. But caring about what other people think, they're probably caring about what you think. There was a quote, and you're probably not.
There was a quote I put up on Instagram, and it was really good. It was like it's from an older quote, but it was like, if you realise how little others people think about you, like that's the thing. Like, people don't really think that much about you. So like, you're making stories in your head the whole time. You're narrating a story in your head, and it's rarely what's actually happening. So like, understanding that, like, you know, people are worrying about themselves most of the time rather than you. And like, there was a study done, Kean was telling me about it up in a school, they done it for a science project. What they figured out was that people who were getting less than 100 likes on their Instagram post, kids, teenagers, were taking down that post again. It was getting less than 100 likes. Yeah, which is absolutely, that's them looking at, fair play to Instagram now have taken down that likes thing. I want to see, hopefully it stays there, but that's just bizarre. Like.
So you're measuring your popularity on the amount of likes that you get, right?
Like less than 100 likes, they're pulling down the posts, which is just scary. Yeah,
it is scary.
It is scary.
Because you couldn't do that before.
No, that's the thing.
There's nowhere to post it.
Yeah, and I think like, you know, from just an overall like positivity, health, body image kind of point of view, like, you know, where we're at the moment versus, like, I suppose say 10 years ago was really 6-pack abs, you know, be 6-pack, even 5 years ago and stuff. Like, I know we are this body positive movement, which I think is a really good thing, but like, you know, is there a point where somebody is morbidly obese, it's a danger to their health, like, you know, and they're being body positive, they're being told by other people, you know, love your body? Like, what's your stance on that? Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, so I've seen this whole area of fat shaming, skinny shaming, where, you know, you're not even
bodybuilding shaming.
Yeah, and you're not even, you know, people are expecting you now not to even refer to somebody as being fat. You must refer to them as being overweight. You can't say the word fat. You're not whatever. Yeah, but I've seen this on television, where somebody is very overweight, and they're being told by the people around them that we love you the way you are. Kind of said it earlier on. We love you the way you are, and you're a really good person. But we're not talking about whether the person is a really good person.
Yeah.
Somebody's body shape has nothing to do with how nice or horrible a person that they are.
That's very true.
But if somebody is very overweight and they're my family member, I'd like them to understand, if that is the way they want to be, that's the way they want to be. But do they understand the consequences of that? I don't want to see somebody in my family dying needlessly. Needlessly. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death worldwide. Worldwide. Now, there's a section of the population who will get heart disease because it's, you know, or heart issues because they're genetic things in the family. It's nearly unavoidable, so they have to spend their lives always checking things and finding things before they happen or whatever. But it's happened to other people because they're just so overweight. I don't want that to happen to somebody. So is there something wrong with telling these people, your life is in danger here? Do you get that? Yes. Do you understand the consequences of this? Yes. So be it.
Yeah, and that's it. Again, it's that choice.
Okay, but get this in. Get this. We seem to have a problem when somebody is very overweight to say to that person, you're very overweight and I'm worried about you. Now it's like, you're wrong, you're fat shaming, how dare you fat shame? Oh, it's grand for you because you like fitness, so it's grand for you. But yes, flip it on its head, the same scale, except we're talking about this side of the scale. No, move to this end of the scale. Let's say you meet somebody, or you walk into a gym and see somebody, or a family member, you walk in and they are so skinny and underweight, if you want, that their life is in danger. And if you walk up to them and say, I'm really worried about you because your life's in danger, we need to help you. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it's the same scale. Yeah. It's the same scale.
That's it. I agree. I think, like, you know, it comes down to choice. Again, like, you know, if you say it to that person, like you just said there, but if you say it that way, and that person says, yeah, I know, and they don't do anything about it, then you can't do any more for that person.
You can't do any more.
You know, but like, and I think, honestly, it's probably the line you've given for the day. It was definitely that, like, you know, just because they're overweight doesn't decide whether they're a good or bad person.
No.
And that's the biggest thing. People are associating that when it's not the case. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, just mental health, we kind of touched on a while ago, being effective when it comes to chasing a certain body image. So people will always jump on board for a 6-week holidays, plan. Like, you know, I want to lose weight for my holiday. Like, where does that come from, and why? That's where the rebound happens. Like, you know.
because it's short term. You know, the results are going to be almost instantaneous in the sense that it's happening very fast. Of course, you know that the faster a result happens, the less sustainability that there is. There is no shortcut to anything, and anywhere that there is a shortcut, there's a price to pay for it. We talked earlier on about, you know, people involved in sport, bodybuilding, competitive athletes and all that. They can implement these protocols, but they know that there's a cut-off point there. They know the price to be paid for it. They know how to deal with it or whatever. The regular person doesn't really. But people want everything yesterday.
Yeah.
I have had people ask me, swear now, have asked me, is there any way that I can just, you know, lose the weight, not have to do too much exercise, and not really have to change the way? And are you having a laugh?
And you think you kind of get a bit frightened to think that, you know, people believe that.
That there's no modification at all. It's like saying, can I sign up to a college and get a degree, but not really turn up and kind of not really do any more study than I already do? No.
And that's the answer. Like, you know, people need to hear that. No is the answer. Just like very quickly, I suppose I kind of really enjoyed the conversation, but touch on nutrition. Like, what's your stance at the moment? With, as I said, the information that's out there is endless, and people are jumping on every single type of diet. For you personally, what do you feel is the best? Like, you know, as a calories, where are you at right now? Because everything changes.
Like
10 years
everything changes. I just think for the general population, I think, do we need protocols and kind of strict protocols for people in sport trying to make a weight, getting on stage, photo shooting, all that kind of stuff? Yes.
Yeah.
Do we need it for the general Joe Soap?
General population.
Do I even need it for me? No. I stay in around the same 365 days a year. Now, if you said to me, we're going to go on holidays in 6 weeks' time, we're going to go to Ibiza, would I drop a bit of body fat and get a bit leaner for the beach? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's that for me. That's that balance point.
Am I going to starve myself? No. Yeah. Am I going to make myself look 10 years younger when I'm hanging like this? No. I'm not going to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? So like hovering around where I always need to be, like so I can go any direction I want to.
Do you believe calories in, calories out is the answer?
I always say it like this, right? So I have 3 dogs at home, right? And I keep horses as well, and there isn't dietitians walking around to every place looking at horses' nutrition, yet they are professional athletes, these elite horses, jumping and show jumping, dressage, and all these other sports, right? And there's a very basic principle is, when you feed them a food that is nutritious, it comes down to quantity. If they lose a bit of condition because they start working a bit more, feed them a bit more. If they gain a bit too much condition because they're not working as much, or you're giving them too much, give them a bit less.
Yeah.
But it's balanced.
It is.
So with people, I always feel, is there any food off the table for you? No. I'm not in favour of omitting a macronutrient. I'm not in favour of omitting like carbs out of the diet and going fats only and all. Yeah. But maybe, you know, I mean, look, if you look at the ketogenic diet and was developed for, you know, people who are non-responsive to epileptic medication and so on, going way back, whatever. There's people who are so pro ketogenic diet and whatever, and I just look at the regular person. I think, like, is there merits for it? Of course there is. Yeah. Is there things that can benefit you from it? Of course there is. But for the regular person who's doing it because they just don't want to be overweight, is there a need? No.
Definitely.
No. Just, you know, if you enjoy eating a bit of chocolate, you can eat a bit of chocolate. Who's to tell you can't? Yeah. You're just living a life. You need to be happy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You're not a professional athlete. Why do you need to stay away from things? Are you going to sit around eating loads of it so you can get overweight? Well, that's not my advice to you.
Well, that's where I think calorie awareness comes in, more so than anything else.
And portion control. Have a look at the portions you're having. It's like people going around saying, I'm gluten intolerant, and I'm gluten intolerant, and why? Oh, but like, I had a plate of pasta. I was like, did you realise that the portion of pasta fit in the palm of your hand there, and you had a plate this size? Of course you're going to be walking around like this holding your stomach, you know? So for me, it's just like, you know, work out how many calories somebody needs to eat. They can go to somebody to help them with that if they want to. And just work how many calories you should eat. Make sure that the person gets enough fats for all the reasons that we take fats, you know, the absorption of vitamins, regulation of hormones, and so on and so on. And we need to get good fats. I'm not talking about like chipper food fats. I'm talking about really good fats. And then carbs for satiety and, you know, giving the person, you know, food that makes them feel like they've eaten, you know, because that's what people want. And then enough protein for the various reasons that they need protein. Check their vitamin and mineral status, plenty of veg. If they don't eat veg, there's other things that they can do. Look, it is what it is. Can a person be healthy? Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, and it's again, like, it's, if you give them the tools, look, and that's our goal here, I think, is to just create a place where here's all the tools, here's how you walk in your mindset, now it's up to you. Do you know, and that's where I think we have to get to. It's like, if you, because here you go, and now you have know what to do. If you do nothing with it, that's on you. But people can choose to be healthier, can be happier. But I think I said the happier side of it comes that you mentioned there about enjoying the journey. That's the biggest thing people kind of.
Because like on your deathbed, I don't know. Like if I think of, like, let's say I live to 80 or 85 years old, I don't think on my deathbed I'll ever look back and say, I'm glad I didn't eat that dessert 40 years ago there when I was out with my friends and they had this lovely chocolate cake and it was lovely with a sauce. I don't think I'll look back on that in my life and say I'm glad I didn't do that. But I will definitely be glad that I would try to stay as healthy as I could stay, with balance in my life, and you know, not having to be extreme anything. Do you know what I mean? And have balance in my life. People should have various aspects to their life. You know, you've got your health, you got your fitness, but there's other things to your life as well. You should have family and friends, and you should have all these other, and goals for your work and goals for your income and all those other things. So tend to them as well, you know.
One of the biggest ones you touched on there a few times is having more than just a fitness goal. I think that's very, very important. And that's you looking at your life as a whole then again, instead of just going like tunnel vision, as in I'm going to lose a stone, that's my only goal. But there's a lot of other important things, people around you that you need to look after.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of.
And the older you get, like the more of those you're going to have. Like, and let's face it, there's like, for people who are out there and focusing on body, and yet they're not athletes and they don't compete and they're not in a sport or whatever. There's going to come a day when you get old, if you're lucky. If you're really lucky, you will get old, because a lot of people don't get the privilege of getting old. People don't want to get old, but they also don't want to die either before it happens. So you're going to get old. You can't be 60 and someone say, do you know what, you still look 20. That isn't going to happen. But someone could look at you and say, if I used to be 60, I'd love to look like you.
Yeah. Or if I used to be 60 and I could move like you, I could climb a mountain, like I could, you know, being able to be mobile, be active.
Well, when I look back at the start of my journey and when I started training and trying to learn all that, I had to learn so much the hard way, because there was nobody to tell me and very few people to help me, and I was getting bad information like, just eat whatever you want to eat and you'll turn it all into muscle and all that kind of thing, you know. I look back and it feels like about 10 years ago. To think it's over 20 years ago, and you know, I'm heading for 40 years old. Am I worried about that? No, because like at 40, if somebody else could look at me and say, do you know what, like, you know, he's a good lad in shape, and he, you know, maybe, you know, doesn't look like maybe the traditional view of a young lad would think a 40-year-old looks like, that'd be great. Like, you know what I mean? Exactly. Do I think I could look 20, or do I want to look? I don't want to look 20. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, just want to be happy with what I do, you know.
Excellent. So I just want to thank Alan for coming in. Really, really good conversation, and I really appreciate you.
More than that. 100%. Thank you.